Hello, I'm the nostalgic critic. I remember, so you don't have to. Now I'm just kidding. It's David Giant 2B here with another movie review we're going to be doing today called Metropolis. Like I said, I'm going to do all movies. I don't care if it's before I was born or up to present day. I've done, so far I've done, of course, Back to the Future was actually before I was born, but it's a cult classic and whatnot. But I'm doing all movies and all kinds, and I'm kind of out of ideas right now, but I thought I'd do the movie Metropolis. And that was made in Germany, or known as Widmer Republic, in 1927. This was the time of period in between the two world wars. Germany had surrendered and become the Widmer Republic, a very weak republic, and very weak before Hitler took over in 1933. And so this was a real, and of course Germany was pretty much in a depression even prior to the Great Depression in the United States and the rest of the world. Germany was already kind of, because they were kind of owing all the money, they were owing all the debt for all the damage they did for everything they did during World War II. World War One. And they were really defeated. So this was a sci-fi, very expensive. Apparently, it cost over a few $1 million to make in its time. And I did a history report on this, but in any case, this movie was very expensive even for the time, but it was very futuristic. It's kind of like the great granddaddy of a lot of sci-fis like Terminator and Planet of the Apes and other despotic movies, Matrix and all the other sci-fis that we know of today. It's kind of the grandfather to a lot of those. Again, this was 1927 silent films. In February, the Jazz Singer was released. That was the first talking picture ever produced. With Al Jolson, but obviously, silent films weren't taken off just right away. So you still had silent, especially in Germany. But this was very expensive. They had a lot of extras, and you probably never heard of the actor Alfred Abel or Bridget Helmer, the head actors of the time. Of course, everybody in this film, whoever made or even participated in this film is all dead. Everybody directed, they're all dead, so it doesn't matter. I don't want. But anyway, so this is a sci-fi of the time. So here we go with Metropolis. So it's set in, I guess, the year 2000, or a lot of people say 2026, or it could be year 3000, and sometime in the future. They never really give a date, and they don't tell us where, but it's a metropolis, and it could possibly be the whole world and stuff. And of course, this has been translated in English because there's all German subtitles now. It's English, and of course, the music might not be the original from the original version, but it's still the same thing. And it takes and basically, it starts out as showing we kind of reverted from, I guess, 10, 15 years prior, time, 19 teens prior to World War One, or from the 19th century, people have reverted, the upper class and the lower class, and it kind of reverted, and it shows how beautiful the city and how modern everything is, and that's how, and then, and then it talks about, and it shows the working class, basically the slaves or the working, they devolved into the working class, kind of like Planet of the Apes, the workers are in the basement, and only the first class get, everything. As you see, they're a slave class underground, slaving away. As they slave away, keep the they keep the they keep the city running and stuff, and basically the city is in other grounds. It's deep below and whatnot, and hold on a second. So anyway, so as the they're up in the skies is the people in the cities and stuff, and they stand in harmony. The upper class, as you see. It's a silent film, and they're doing their Olympics, but this is the first class. Titanic. First class in steerage, and there's no second class. Everything in between. And as you see, you have the main character, Freder, and he's oblivious to everything that's going on. It's basically, basically what we're seeing here is, basically, the classes are separated, and they're all frolicking, and it's basically a master class, kind of a precursor to Nazi Germany. They're kind of like preaching the workers should be treated fairly. This is kind of a precursor to how the classes are separated and how things are wrong. And as you can see in this, obviously, who's going to be married. It's kind of like that, kind of like. And so anyway. Basically, so this guy named Freder. He's the son of Joe. He's this guy Joe is kind of like the master of the entire city. Again, like I said, this is either supposed to be the year 2000 or 2026 or 3000. Probably 2026. I don't know. Who knows? Sometime in the future, and of course they're showing off of how classes are separated and stuff. And of course Joe falls in love. It's supposed to be assigned and stuff. But then this lady appears, and she's showing the children how the other class live and stuff, and she's like, this is how the other classes live and whatnot, and he follows, and of course Freder follows her down, and follows her, and she's choked, and he goes to Joe, aren't we like our brothers and stuff? And see, here's a footage of what the future is supposed to be like for the upper class and whatnot. And I don't know if this is the correct music. So I'll just have it muted. Of what is supposed to be going on. It's like, well, shouldn't we be like everybody else? And of course he did. He follows him down. He sees the mechanics of what Metropolis, because obviously it's first class versus steerage, and you see, because I'm going to keep it silent. I don't know what the real music was, but as you can see, they're slaving away, keeping the city running, keeping the differences and stuff. And Freder sees this, and he's not too excited about any of this. And this is supposed to be the future, of course. Men, the steer, in the class system, and people are slaving away, and they keep the computers, or they know them as machines, from overheating and whatnot, and it's 14-hour to 18-hour shifts or whatever, as you can see, and you can see the computers. The master computer is going to overheat, or the machine is going to overheat, and if it doesn't, the first class will be upset about it, so they have to have a replacement. And but this is what Freder is seeing. There's free. He's seeing all this, and of course he has a hallucination and stuff, and he's like, well, he goes to his dad. He says, hey, anyway, so this is what Metropolis is, but obviously with monorails, and see, Walt Disney, you have a biplane, and the airplanes were commonplace, and monorails, and and obviously, Walt Disney didn't invent the monorail. Obviously, this was in Germany. And you see the freeway system or the autobahn and whatnot, and this is what the city. You can see a master main building, and this is supposed to be the future. Traffic on the bottom and byways and all these airplanes everywhere, but these monorail trains and everything. And remember, this is the future to 1927, so this is all city-state with autobahn and monorails and airplanes, commonplace. So anyway, Frederick comes back to his father, and he's like, what's with these classes? Why is there separation and stuff? And and of course, Frederick meanwhile is firing a saboteur, and kind of a side story. He's kind of firing someone, and of course, this guy Joe is kind of like the main, kind of like a dictator. So it's kind of giving. And of course, you can see they have the German stock market. It's amazing how the clothes are still the same, but it's supposed to be 1920s. But of course, Joe's talking about ideas of how to make everything great and whatnot. And this is obviously the upper class. And they're doing mathematics. And of course, here comes Frederick. He's kind of saying, "Hey, what are these? Why is there separation and stuff? And what are you doing?" And of course, like I said, I have on the music. I don't know what the correct music was, but he's like, "Don't worry about it." And of course, Fredder is, he's very upset here, and I don't want to be flat, but see, of course, they're gonna have show the words in a second here. I guess he's trying to calm it down. Hold on. Yeah. Obviously dialogue is kind of hard to come by and whatnot, but they have an argument. Yeah, he fires him, and anyway, so there's a secret map that is discovered, and obviously there's a plot to a secret map discovered in the office and stuff. One of the foremen discovered and showed it to and this other guy gets fired, and it's very hard with silent films and whatnot. So then it's kind of, the Joseph guy gets fired, and of course, Fredder's like, "Why don't you come down and help me out and stuff?" And we could, see the rest of our brothers. And of course, and of course, the fireman discovers the map. Well, what is the meaning of this? Obviously, they're plotting to overthrow the classes and stuff, because they, when the foreman discovers the map, there's an evil plot going on and whatnot. And like I said, I'm going really quickly through because it's a silent film, so it's like it's a lot of artistic. It's a 2-3 hour movie and stuff. And since there's there's lack of dialogue only because it's based on the stage and whatnot. And of course, Frederick goes back into the, and he's trying to, he's inspired by everything, and of course, meanwhile, there's this mad scientist who develops a Terminator, and of course, this Terminator can infiltrate the woman, because obviously they're speaking of you know, like I said, I'm going really fast. You know, I'm trying skipping through the main parts and stuff. Anyway, so this Terminator is being built. This mad scientist built a Terminator, and she could, you know, turn into anything just like the Terminator can. But this is obviously pre-Terminator and whatnot. And this mad scientist, you know, as you can see, the mad scientist is explaining his Terminator. Of course, they call it the machine or robot. And of course, apparently the costume I heard was very, very expensive. And you know, this is a everything. You know, just to, you know, put balance to the thing. And I don't know why they have a pentagram that controls that. I kind of caught that. But anyway, you know, again, this is all about public saying, you know, can't have you know, we have to, kind of like a pre-Nazi-esque type thing going on. You know, classes need to be, and of course, you know, as you see, the scientist is explaining his robot, and he's explaining the robot to everybody, you know, to him, and of course he unleashes, you know, his Terminator robot, and you know, obviously they have to keep the oh, and Fredder kind of. You know, the reason that scene I just skipped to, you know, like I said, this is a silent movie, I just skipped to that. Basically, Fredder was trying to work like a worker, you know, because everybody's a brother and stuff, and he obviously can't do what he's supposed to be doing with whatever machine work he's supposed to be doing there and stuff. Again, the American labor laws didn't come into play just right away. I mean, obviously, that's why you say father with hours ever end, and obviously someone else took over, and, you know, Fredder's pretending to be someone else. You know, they worked 14-hour days, you know, 14, 18-hour days in Germany still, you know, it wasn't, and of course, you know, the long hours of shifts and stuff. And meanwhile, his father was, you know, is conceiving, you know, the mad scientist, and of course, you know, they have this rebellion, they're trying to plan a rebellion, you know, this is a Star Wars type trope. Again, this is the granddaddy of everything. And, you know, again, this is 2 hours, or 2.5 hours long, if not 3, depending on what type of cut you got here, and I'm like showing snippets and stuff. And so, you know, they send the robot, she turns into the woman that's preaching kind of like a gospel type thing. This is kind of like I guess the inspiration for THX 1138, like a gospel type thing. You know, he can't be all, you know, mindless robot. Of course, that's Lucas, that's another review on its own. And again, it's harder to explain with all the silence and stuff. And anyway, the scientist kidnaps Maria, and and uses Maria, who's kind of like the main actress, to turn into a Terminator type, you know, infiltrate and stuff. And of course she's, you know, because she's a voice. And of course they're in the old obviously the nuclear war. See here, you can see, you know, the kidnapping, and I guess I get to play some of the music, I guess. Anyway, so, you know, like I don't know why they have this pentagram thing. That's kind of interesting. But anyway, you know, depending on the cut you get, you know, this is all, you know, again, you know, the robot's kind of inspirational, you know, what C-3PO looked like and stuff. And, and whatnot, and obviously this Maria is, because they wanted, they have to, they want a revolution. Of course, they have to destroy the robot, and they have, they have a big chase and stuff. Like I said, I'm skipping ahead. They have, they have a big chase and whatnot, and because it's a revolution. There's got to be a change, and the robot, obviously is run rogue, and and of course, then Maria herself kind of says, we gotta have a revolution and stuff. Again, this is a very long movie, very, very long, and it's hard to tell what's going on because there's lack of dialogue. A lot of it's been lost when they reconstructed it. A lot of this was in German, so you have to know your German or whatnot, and then Frederick gets knocked out and then he gets recovered, and they go to the catacombs and stuff. Josephat, who was recently, who was fired by, Joe, who's the father, urging the workers to rise and destroy the machines, have a rebellion and whatnot. And, like I said, I'm just trying to skip to main points and stuff. And of course, they have the rebellion, they destroy the machines, and then, of course, the flood, it floods and stuff. I'm gonna show some more scenes here. It's not like I could, it's not like I could, because there's so much. As you can see, very, very artsy. This is very German artsy. It's the Widmer Republic, but they're doing the rebellion here, and of course, this is, like I said, I skipped. This kind of looks like a prequel. The Planet of the Apes is all about, and of course, as you can see, it's very, very artsy and whatnot. And of course, the machines are being destroyed, and they're trying to represent death and destruction and stuff. And because there's a revolution going on. As you can see, the problem with silent films is it's all overacting and stuff because there's no there's no sound, and of course Fredder's trying to stop the revolution and stuff. He thinks it's all his fault. Anyway, so Maria escapes, and she escapes, and the city gets flooded, and saves the children, and of course Fredder watches everything, and of course the real robot gets revealed and cut out, and then of course the scientist is all delusional. He's a mad scientist and whatnot, and they chase the robot and have a foot chase, and of course they fight. They fight the robot and stuff, and then and of course the workers are continuing their chaos and stuff, and then of course the scientist falls to his death, and then Fredder, after the revolution ends, they kind of Fredder is like a mediator between rich and poor and stuff, and instead of the same old statement, I have a change, because obviously it was obvious that and that's how the movie ends is Fredder mediates, why should we have this, because basically the poor are being attacked and stuff. And again, this is all silent film, and it's very hard to do it. But I'll show some more footage here of the flood. Obviously, Maria escaped, and she she do things peacefully around here. Anyway, so Maria escapes, and she escapes, and the city gets flooded, and saves the children, and of course, Freder watches, everything, and of course the real robot gets revealed and cut out, and then of course the scientist is all delusional, he's a mad scientist and whatnot, and they chase the robot and have a foot chase, and of course they fight, they fight the robot and stuff, and then and of course the workers are continuing their chaos and stuff, and then of course the scientist falls to his death, and then Freder, after the revolution ends, they kind of, Freder is like a mediator between rich and poor and stuff, and instead of the same old statement, I have a change, because obviously it was obvious that and that's how the movie ends is Freder mediates, why should we have this, because it's basically the poor being attacked and stuff. And again, this is all silent film, and it's very hard to do it. But I'll show some more footage here of the flood. Obviously, Maria escaped, and she she do things peacefully around here. It's like Titanic, lock them up, and they have to revolutionize and stuff. Again, that's the robot. She's infiltrated. And see, they're flooding the city as they're revolutionizing. There's the final ending of Freder stop. Obviously they destroy the robot, the Terminator robot, and it's death and destruction. And then of course, I'm just gonna skip to Freder's like, I'll be a mediator for these people. Let's have peace and stuff. The father wakes up to that. I guess to sum up, basically, it's about the classes and stuff. Movie's a movie. This is basically talking about the classes. Obviously, this is a precursor to things like Terminator, Planet of the Apes. Supposed to be a beautiful future like Space 1999 or Space 2000, kind of one of those. It's despotic, and but the class, and of course, this is obviously giving messages. Because Germany was in dire straits, and obviously this was obviously, like I said, the mediator and stuff, and between working and obviously there needs to be mediation. So that was Metropolis, and I apologize, how rough this was, but it's a silent film. And of course, what they got instead of what they should have gotten, because obviously Widmer Republic was still recovering and stuff. And anyway, sorry. So anyway, sorry about the interruptions, but yeah, it's artsy. It's an artsy film, and of course, obviously what they got was Nazi Germany instead, because the Germans were desperate. But it's an artsy movie. Like I said, it's a granddaddy to a lot of movies, and that was Metropolis. This is Johnny 2B David signing off.